Well, gotta make sure this hat is ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to episode 14 of the VinDawg Pod. I guess it's the Halloween version because Halloween's right around the corner. I got my Mario outfit on. About to go out to the bars later, so it's like, might as well show off my Mario outfit to the game. Anyway, for week 9, we're coming off of a terrible win, but a win nonetheless, against Arizona State. So we're happy. 15-7. Thank you, Mish. We love you. We'll do a little podcast rundown to start things off. Obviously, weekly update. We'll go over week 8 in college football. We'll kind of preview week 9. I'll give you guys my rankings for the college football playoffs before those first rankings come out next week. And then, of course, the betting segment. Let's get into it. Weekly update. UW recap from last week. On October 19th, women's soccer defeated Utah 3-1. Men's soccer lost to Cal 1-2. Volleyball was swept by UCLA 3-0 on October 20th. October 21st, UW football beat Arizona State, thanks to Mish. And then October 22nd, women's soccer draws to Colorado 1-1. Volleyball loses to USC 3-2. And men's soccer tied number 14 Stanford 1-1, which is a bit. I don't know how men's soccer does it. They lose games that they shouldn't lose, and they get results against teams that they probably shouldn't get results against. So, I guess we'll take it. Upcoming week for the University of Washington Athletics on, I guess today, October 26th, men's soccer goes to UCLA, and women's soccer goes to Oregon. On the 27th, volleyball faces Oregon State. On the 28th, University of Washington football program goes to Stanford in a big bounce-back game. And on the 29th, women's soccer travels to Oregon State, men's soccer travels to San Diego State, and volleyball faces Oregon. Seattle sports. Seattle Seahawks defeated the Cardinals 20-10. Needed that win. Niners lost, so Seahawks are now 4-2. The Niners are 5-2. Seahawks are just one game back. Javon Witherspoon has been unreal. Has been a great number 5 pick. There's a lot of judgment early about what that pick was, if that was worth it. It looks worth it right now. And he's highly graded on every metric that there is. Our corners might be the best cornerback duo in the league, so it's really hard to complain about that. We have a big home game on Sunday versus the Browns and their elite defense. Usually the Browns are just a shoe off, but it's a pretty scary game. That defense is no joke. The Seattle Kraken. The Kraken crushed the Hurricane 7-4 on the 19th. Then they lost 4-1 to the Rangers on the 21st. Then they came around and won a big-time overtime game 5-4 to the Rangers. To the Red Wings, my apologies, not the Rangers, the Red Wings on the 24th, yeah. And then they have a rematch against the Hurricanes tonight. After that, games against Panthers and the Lightning the following week. Sounders have a first round 1 game of the MLS playoffs at home versus FC Dallas. That takes place October 30th at 6 p.m. at Lumen Field. That'll be a good one. My hat's driving me crazy. It's a little too big for my head. Look at it. Look at it. It's getting ridiculous. I don't know how I'm going to survive with this thing, but we'll do our best. Let's get into week 8. Let's recap week 8 in college football. So the big results, the big game. Number 3 Ohio State defeated number 7 Penn State 20-12. Horrendous quarterback play from both teams. Penn State looked terrible. I don't even know if it was really the defenses. I just think that Penn State didn't trust the quarterback at all. Ohio State was just playing not to lose. It really was a horrible game to watch. Ohio State still came away with a big-time W. Number 4 Florida State beats number 16 Duke 38-20. They outscored Duke 21-0 in the fourth quarter. They were down by 3 going into the fourth, and they just could not pull it off. Number 6 Oklahoma squeaks past UCF 31-29, after UCF missed a 2-point conversion. Brutal. I thought UCF had that game. That would have been massive as far as playoff implications go. Number 11, Alabama, came back against number 17, Tennessee, won 34-20. They outscored Tennessee 27-0 in the second half. Tennessee was up 20-3 and choked it away. They must have been thinking about when they took the field goal post and ran it into the river, because that was terrible to watch. Number 24, Iowa, loses 12-10 in Minnesota in what might have been the worst football game I've ever seen in my life. I mean, but the craziest thing is, like, we expected that. That was what we expected to happen, and it happened anyway. Iowa, you got to win that game. Minnesota is not a good football team. That was bad. Number 2, Michigan obliterated Michigan State 49-0 on the road. Michigan State is in shambles. Just absolute shambles. Might be the worst team in the Big Ten at this point. Virginia knocked off number 10 North Carolina 31-27. Virginia has no business beating North Carolina. North Carolina, what are we doing? What are we doing? Pac-12 results. Number 9 Oregon wipes out Wazoo 38-24. That score is closer than it should have been. Wazoo had a garbage time touchdown. Bucky Irving is unbelievably good. He might be the best running back in the nation. He's just so shifty. His big playability is truly unbelievable. Wazoo just looks terrible. I mean, they just look terrible. They're crushed. I think losing to UCLA crushed them because they got destroyed by Arizona the next week. They just look terrible. Number 14, Utah, defeated number 18 USC 34-32 with a game-winning field goal. That USC defense is garbage. There's only so much you can do if you're the Heisman and Caleb Williams when your defense can't do anything. Poor guy was like crying on the sideline because he realized that his championship hopes were out the window, just like that. Pretty unfortunate. I think we saw it coming after that close game against Arizona. It's like, I think Arizona's a great team, but if you're a playoff hopeful team, it's not, that wasn't the game you want to see. You don't go triple overtime. Not that UW's win against Arizona State was much better, but hey, at least we won that game by 8. You won that game against Arizona by 2. No bueno. And then, of course, number 25, UCLA. Dog walked Stanford 42-7. UCLA's run game, disgusting. Their defense, disgusting. Stanford, not disgusting at football, as in they're very bad at football. I don't know what to say. We'll get more into Stanford. And then, of course, number 5, Washington squeaks past Arizona State 15-7. Terrible Arizona State play calling, and Michelle Powell won this game for the University of Washington. Why go for it on 4th down when all you really needed to do there was kick a field goal? Kick a field goal, get the momentum. UW's offense hasn't done anything all game. Make them go and do something. You must really not trust your kicker if you're going to go for it on that 4th down situation. Just to throw a pick 6. God, that was awful. That was absolutely awful. I still think Arizona State outcoached us that game. But hey, a win is a win. Penix sucked against the pressure. Arizona State just, they, unlike Oregon, Arizona State really did study on their bye week, and they really knew what to do to slow us down. 2 interceptions, a terrible tipped interception. Penix threw on the goal line. Odunze wide open, was about to be a very easy touchdown. Was not a very easy touchdown. Was a very bad interception. And then Penix also lost a fumble. Jalen Polk lost a fumble on a good first down. It just was a sloppy game. But, there was a reason that we lost 13 of 15 to Arizona State, and we can now proudly say we've lost 13 of 16 because that was a big time win. 0 rushing attack from UW. I think it's 13 total carries for UW, 13 total yards. That is not good. Those are not good numbers. Those are not the numbers you like to see. They need to figure that out. They need to figure that out if they want to really legitimately be a playoff team. I think Dylan Johnson's going to be fine. I just think that was a very floppy game all around. Our blocking really couldn't get anything going. Arizona State pressure was unbelievable. I think it's just one of those games you got to throw in the rearview mirror and you just got to move on from because golly, that was terrible. Rushing defense needs some work still. Arizona State got a lot of rushing yards on us, but wow, did that defense step up when they needed to? I mean, unbelievable. A lot of credit to Michelle Powell, of course. Absolutely just glazing this guy because he's the man. I've known he's the man. I got the pleasure of interviewing him last year did a piece for the Daily with him. He's just such an incredible guy. What he meant to the community, and then for him to have that moment, for his parents to see him have that moment. Sorry, blue season. Just unbelievable from him. I'm so proud of him. The defense, the way the defense has just risen to the occasion on fourth down, risen to the whatever. You can't really make it up. It's been truly incredible, and you know what? If your defense is gonna make big plays in big moments like that, they can do anything. Doesn't matter what team you're playing against. You come through in the clutch, you are clutch, and that's what this defense has shown me. And I'm very confident. I'm very, very confident in this defense. I think all in all, it's a huge, huge, huge game for us to win. We won, and that's all that matters. Who cares how people are ranking us now because of that game? Because we have a gauntlet of a schedule coming up. And if we win those games, nobody on the planet is going to be talking about Arizona State. Nobody will care anymore. That's how big that win was. No one's going to care. So gotta take care of business, do what you gotta do, and we'll be fine. The defense is rising to the occasion. Panics in the offense will be just fine. Not a worry in the world. Let's go ahead and preview week 9. Week 9 of college football. It's a pretty disgusting looking slate as far as games. Nothing really that great gonna go down. Number 6 Oklahoma goes against Kansas. Oklahoma's a 9.5 point favorite. This is like Oklahoma's toughest game for the rest of the year. So, and they're 9.5 point favorites, which the game's gonna be closer than that. I almost know it. I can almost guarantee it. But we'll see. We'll see. Oklahoma could very well just knock them out of the park, and there you go. Number 1 Georgia versus Florida. Georgia's a 14.5 point favorite. It seems like a low spread, but Georgia and Florida is a big rivalry. I remember seeing the clip of when Georgia scored the first touchdown against Florida, when Florida was just absolutely overpowered, and the entire team ran off the sideline and started celebrating. I would love it if Florida went and did that exact thing this weekend. Will they? No, they will not. But that would be very fun if they did. Number 20 Duke versus number 18 Louisville. Louisville is a 4.5 point favorite. We love Louisville in this matchup, but this is going to be a fun game. Other than one of the Pac-12 games, it's probably one of the best games you're going to get this week. I'm excited for that. I think it'll be high scoring. I think it'll stay close, but I think Louisville's going to pull away with it. And then you have number 21 Tennessee versus Kentucky. Tennessee is minus 3.5. I think Tennessee's season is over after that collapse against Alabama. So, I don't really expect much out of Tennessee here. I wouldn't be surprised if Kentucky comes in and pulls away the win, because what are we playing for anymore for Tennessee? We're distraught. We're emotional. Our national championship was against Alabama last week, and we were up 20-3 at half, and we lost. No bueno. So, yeah, I'm not expecting much out of Kentucky there. Out of Tennessee, sorry. I'm expecting a lot out of Kentucky. The Pac-12 slate gets a little bit more exciting. Number 8, Oregon, goes on the road against number 13, Utah. And Oregon is a 6.5 point favorite. Utah has a massive home winning streak right now. Their defense is going to be the best defense Oregon's gone up against. I think Utah matched up very well against them. Utah is coming off a very emotional win against USC. That can be draining for a team, but I think they realize that this game is more important than USC was. I'm expecting Utah to come prepared, and it's either this game or Oregon State. These are the two games where Oregon might lose it, and let's not be surprised if Utah pulls this one off. Number 24, USC versus Cal. USC is a 10.5-point favorite. USC can't stop a bag of chips, so I really don't know if they're going to be able to do anything against Cal as far as stopping them. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think USC is going to win, but I think they're just going to leave Cal in the game. We've seen that Cal can score points. It's going to be a matter of if they can score enough points. It'll be a fun game, though. I think it's not going to be boring. It's not going to be one of them slugfests. It's not going to be a UW versus ASU. It'll be an exciting game. Colorado versus number 23 UCLA. UCLA is a 17-point favorite. I think Colorado is going to get dog walked here. They're coming off a bye, but at the same time, UCLA's defense is really good. Their defensive line is really good. Colorado's offensive line is really bad. Shedeur has the most sacks, I think, in the FBS. So that number is going to go up a lot more. I just think it's going to be difficult for Shedeur to do very much offensively. I would expect that UCLA clobbers them. Washington State versus Arizona State. Washington State is a 5.5-point favorite. I don't really know what to say about this game. I mean, one of these teams have to win. I mean, one of them have to win, I think. I mean, yeah, Wazoo's lost 3 straight in the Pac-12. They look terrible. They're so defeated. Arizona State has not won a conference game yet, but they just gritted out a tough game against Washington. A game that they probably win again if they're at home. And now they get to be at home against UW's little brother. Anything can happen. I think Wazoo wins it, but anything can happen. Number 11, Oregon State versus Arizona. Oregon State is a 3.5-point favorite. This is a very fishy point spread, which means that Vegas knows something I don't. But in my head, Oregon State's defense is going to stop Arizona. I mean, say all you want about their quarterback. He's been phenomenal. But Oregon State's defense is really good. Oregon State's rushing attack is really good. I just think that they're going to control the clock. I think they're going to put this one away. And I think it's going to be by 2 scores. I don't think it's going to be that close. Number 5, Washington versus Stanford. Washington is a 26.5-point favorite. The over-under is set at 60.5. Now, UW has struggled, if you will, against the spread recently. Not really what you want to see out of your hopeful national championship team. But this is a massive recovery game. It's a massive spot for UW to come out firing. The first college football playoff rankings are right around the corner. We need to show our big guns here. Jalen McMillan is back. I think this is going to be a UW clobber fest. I think UW wins 52-14. I think the offense comes alive. I really don't think there's a home field advantage for Stanford because no one really cares about Stanford football anymore over there. I mean, Stanford's season is already done as it is. They had one big gritty win against Colorado, and that was their season highlight. Nothing else matters. They just got clobbered by UCLA. I just don't see this game being remotely close. Penix is going to regain his Heisman confidence, and he's going to slaughter them through the air. Ojunze and McMillan, with McMillan back, it's going to be a completely different offense. It's going to be the offense that we saw when we were destroying teams. Polk has been a great wide receiver too. McMillan is better than Jalen Polk, and Jalen Polk is really good. So when Jalen Polk is your number 3, and then McMillan is your number 2, this offense is borderline unstoppable. I think McMillan is going to explode out there, and I think this offense is going to find that confidence, find where that potential was, and they're going to come away with the dub, the big dub. Dylan Johnson in that run game, they have to get back on track, and I think they will get back on track. I mean, they have no choice. They've looked really bad recently. They got to get something going. Expect at least 15 to 20 carries for DJ. I think he's going to have over 80 yards and a touchdown. UW's about to go into a gauntlet of games, 4 close games coming up. They are going to do whatever they can to get Dylan Johnson that confidence. They're going to let him. They're going to feed the man. They are going to feed the man. Defense, I think, is going to continue to shine and prove that they are legit. I don't know how often Stanford's going to be going for it on 4th down, but I'm very confident in our 4th down defense. I think we get multiple turnovers. I think we have 3+ sacks. I think our defensive linemen really need to get going. ZTF and Braylon Trice have ZTF been good. Braylon Trice has done things outside of the stat sheet that are like very impressive and very good, and he's game changing. We need to see the sacks and the tackles for loss, Braylon. We need to see it. We need to see it bad. I think he's gonna get a little bit of it against Stanford. It's gonna be back to the normal for UW in this offense. It was a 40-22 win against Stanford last year at home. I think we're better. I think we're stronger, and I think we are more prepared for this matchup. Give me the VinDawg Pod College Football Playoff Ranking. My top 4, I like it. I like our options here. I think it's going to be Georgia #1, just because, you can't kick Georgia off. They're a 2-time defending national champion. I don't care that they haven't played anybody. I can't kick them off. Now, at #2, I have Michigan, but it comes with an asterisk because who knows what's going to happen with Michigan. I think the whole sign stealing stuff is ridiculous, but either way, they're still going to find a way to sanction them or something. So it's Michigan with an asterisk, and then Ohio State is also my #2 because it's like it's either one or the other, and if Michigan gets screwed over, it's going to be Ohio State. That's how I look at it. I think that if nothing happens to Michigan, Michigan's going to beat Ohio State, and Michigan will be the #2. But if it comes down to it, where Ohio State plays nobody else. It's literally just Michigan for Ohio State. So that's all they're looking at. That's all it's going to be. We'll see how that goes. #3, Washington. I mean, the reality is that the Pac-12 is the best conference in football right now. So when you keep that in mind, and you keep in fact that UW is still undefeated right now, if UW goes and wins big against Stanford, they're going to be in the #3 spot. They're going to go #3 because everyone's going to forget about the Arizona State win and how close it was when UW puts up 50 on Arizona State. So, on Stanford, my apologies. So I got Washington at 3, and then I got Oklahoma at 4. Oklahoma's having a great year, but they play nobody outside of Texas. And obviously, they're going to have to rematch Texas, so they get #4. It's like I said, Oklahoma's toughest game is going to be the rematch against Texas. It's going to happen unless Texas loses or Oklahoma loses to Kansas somehow. I don't know how that will happen. If that happens, then I should tell you that no team in the Big 12 should be in the college football playoff, but we don't make the rules here. Georgia has a cupcake schedule, so that's why they're going to be #1. They're not going to lose. Only chance they have of losing is the SEC championship. They're not going to lose. Michigan looks dominant, so I have Michigan at #2. But if it's not Michigan, it's Ohio State, just because that's how it works. And then I think Washington by far has the toughest schedule out of all these teams. But if they win the Pac-12, they go at #3 because even with one loss, if you're a one-loss winner of the Pac-12, best conference in college football right now, you've proven that you can go up against anybody. So give Washington a #3 right there. Betting segment. Boom, boom, pow. Last week was something. I, for some reason, decided that I was going to take the over 45.5 in Penn State versus Ohio State. That did not happen. That was the worst bet of all time. That was a terrible game to watch. I thought it had a chance. I thought if Penn State somehow forced overtime and then, we got a couple touchdowns and maybe we were going to somehow backdoor that over. But it was just a terrible game to watch. I had, everyone was so excited for it. Oh, Big Ten matchup, top 10, #3 versus #7. Didn't live up to the billing at all. That was terrible to watch. Tennessee choked second half versus Bama. Fails to cover plus 9.5. That's ridiculous. They were up 20-3, and you're going to tell me that they're not going to cover 9.5, up 17 points? Well, guess what? They gave up 27 straight points they didn't cover. Unbelievable. Washington State backdoored Oregon, covered plus 20.5. That was electric. I have no idea. I walked away when Washington turned over on down. Walked away. We were screwed. We were dead in the water. And then all of a sudden, I go back upstairs. I got a beer. I look at the screen. Washington State just scored another touchdown. They covered. Backdoor. Boom. I'll take it. I will take that. That's a dub. All reliable Hawaii. Hawaii. When all else fails, take the Hawaii over. Hawaii lost 21-42, but that's good enough for the over 60.5, baby. Cash it. And then my favorite bet of the year by far, was the Iowa-Minnesota under 31.5. I saw the stat that it was the lowest over-under total in 20 years, and I was like, it's going to be under. It's obviously going to be under. Minnesota beats Iowa 12-10. It was the worst football game I've ever seen, and voila, give me the under, baby. That's another 3-2 week for the VinDawg. So we are now up to 27-21 on the year. Guys, I was under 500 for a little bit. 27-21 feels pretty good. I could go 0-5 and still be above 500. That feels pretty good. We're red hot, and we're going to keep cooking. We're going to keep on cooking this week. Play number 1. I love it. USC versus Cal over 65.5. What more do I have to say? We got a garbage defense over here, and we got a garbage defense over here. We have a Heisman over here, and we have a random, a decent offense with a great running back playing a garbage defense over here. That's going to result in points. I think both teams score 30. USC might put up 56. It might be 56 to 35. Good enough for me. I'll take it. I think 65.5 is too low. I think it should be like 68.5. If you're going to give me a line, make it a little higher. Boise State versus Wyoming over 48.5. Now, I was never going to bet on Boise State again because they pooped the bed so many times. But, I mean, Wyoming likes to score points, and it seems like every time Wyoming plays, they have a very low line for that over-under. I think Wyoming's going to score 20-something. I think Boise scores 30-something. Over 48.5 seems solid to me, and I'm going to take it. Give me over 48.5 in that. Washington State versus Arizona State. I'm going to go over 51. Now, Arizona State's kind of been playing low-scoring games for a while now, which is why I'm feeling like this is going to be an over. I just think that, Wazoo has looked so terrible, and they have some dogs on that offense. Cam Ward needs to go and cook. Cam Ward's going to go and get 4 touchdowns and 400 yards because that's what Cam Ward does. Arizona State's going to score 3 times because Wazoo's defense stinks. 51 is an achievable number. I'm taking that over. All reliable. San Jose State versus Hawaii over 58.5. Look, as long as Hawaii exists, I'm going to take their overs because it's like lightning in a bottle. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And I love San Jose State. I've already taken San Jose State overs, and those have slammed as well. I don't know who wins that game, but what I know is both defenses suck, and there's going to be at least 30 points scored for both teams. I mean, Hawaii scored 21 in a where they got the score doubled on them, and they still scored 21. So I think Hawaii could put up 28, and I think that San Jose State can put up 31, and bam. I don't know. Yeah. That gets you your over. There you go. Boom, 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 boom. I just did mental math, and it was perfect. That's all you need to see. That's what I'm expecting. Give me that over. And then last pick of the week, last thing of the day. Washington minus 26.5 versus Stanford. This is a massive bounce back opportunity for Washington. Washington looks really, 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 not great on offense. Penix is all of a sudden falling behind in the Heisman race, which is ridiculous to me. He is going to shoot his way back up in this game. The boy can say all he wants that it's all about winning. It's not about the Heisman for Michael Penix Jr. It's not about the Heisman at all. BS. That is BS. That is bull honky. You know he's thinking about the Heisman. And you know his receivers are thinking about the Heisman. And you know Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb are thinking about the Heisman. He's going to go and he's going to explode. It's going to be a fantastic game. I'm very excited to see it. I think UW push up 50. I think that Penix scores 5+ touchdowns. I think he has 400+ yards. Give me that Washington spread against an abysmal Stanford defense. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Halloween edition of the VinDawg Pod. It's great to talk to you. Great to see you. We are still undefeated through 14 weeks, and I am very excited to be undefeated for week 15 when I see you guys next week. Ladies and gentlemen, boom, boom, boom. Have a wonderful rest of your week.